is up, everybody? I am out in the junkyard, which has recently been cleaned up a little bit, and the Coronet has been pulled from its resting place. It's been sitting there for quite some time now, longer than I expected, honestly. And today I'm gonna flip you around. We're gonna do a quick walk around the car, and we're gonna try and start the car. Granted, I'm not going full tilt boogie on the procedures of what you need to do to actually try and fire up a car that's been sitting for 20 plus years. I just want to see if this thing will crank over and breathe to life a little bit. I'm going to check the oil. I'm putting a battery in it. I'm putting a gas can on the ground and spraying some stuff down the carburetor and seeing what happens. So I'm going to flip you around. We'll do a quick walk around and look at the condition it's actually in. So this is my 1966 Coronet. I actually got it in a trade with one of my buddies. He bought this car when we were back in high school, and unfortunately after high school it went up to Idaho and then sat in a carport for quite a few years, and then sat in on the side yard for quite a few years, and then sat in a field for quite a few years. And then she came down here. I rescued her from the field, brought her down, and unfortunately, I think she sat for about 2 years now too. It is gross, dirty, nasty from sitting for all those years, which is pretty sad because some of the interior and stuff actually wasn't in that bad of shape, but it has been taken over by mice, dirt, dust, and nastiness. So the car needs to be full tilt cleaned out at some point. Under the hood is an old wide block 318, and you can see evidence of rodents, evidence of sitting for 20 years, evidence of just about everything. Honestly, Travis looked under the hood and just said, "That looks like a lot of work. There's not a chance it'll start." I think it will. Even, mind you, at one point this car sat with no intake manifold on it, no carburetor, no distributor, no spark plugs in the holes, nothing, for like 10 years. And then it kind of got put back together in hopes of doing like a roadkill road trip at some point. There's actually parts in the car that who knows if they're still good or not just from sitting. But I'm gonna hook up this gas can, I'm gonna grab a battery, and I'm gonna see if this thing will crank to life. Now, funny thing is, I couldn't even find the keys for the car, so I had to go through all of my old Mopar keys and find some that worked. Actually, the Dart key worked for the trunk. Mopar was kind of bad at reusing trunk keys, and then I went through my massive collection of ignition keys for old Mopars and found one that worked. So I think, me personally, I think this car is going to fire to life. I'm not going to let it run very long, but I think it'll fire to life. Found another little surprise where the battery rests. So I'm going to throw a battery in here. I checked the oil. It has oil. That's about the extent of what I'm going to do. So I thought we were dead before we started. I could not get it to crank over off the key. I jumped the starter and then it did start to spin. So now it will crank off the key. I'm going to spray some fluid down here and let's see what happens. Yeah, I tried 2 different batteries just thinking I had some dead ones. Well, that starter's not super happy. I don't know if you can hear that, but she's definitely leaking. Definitely smoking. The crazy thing is, it doesn't run half bad. It definitely kicked a whole lot of crap out on me, and dust and rat crap. Obviously, the carb needs some work, huh? Blowing out 20 years worth of junk. Well, it lives. It makes noise. It makes weird noise up front. I'm guessing that water pump's not super happy. Probably a few things aren't super happy. Well, the Coronet lives. Take that, Travis. You had all the doubts in the world. I'm not gonna lie. For a second or two, I had my doubts as well, because I could not get it to crank off the starter. Had to jump the starter. But it actually fired up pretty easily. Now, the engine itself, definitely making some questionable noise. I think that water pump is about toast, which I think I might have even bought a new water pump for it when I was buying parts. And let me flip you around. So I'm sure you can see around the thermostat housing, it was leaking. That bypass hose looks like it's ready to explode. The carburetor definitely needs some work. Well, everything needs some work. I think it was about to start leaking from just about everywhere. I do think that water pump was making noise. But man, it actually fired up pretty quickly, and ran and idled, and gives hope that the Coronet will one day go down the road again. Now, you know, like I said, there's a lot of things you would do differently if you were starting up a car that had sat for 20 years. I don't know that this engine's gonna actually stay with the car forever anyway. I've got a rebuilt 360 sitting at the house, and that engine very well could be what ends up in the Coronet. So I'm excited. It started. Anyone that didn't think it would, it did. It started pretty easy. That's going to be it for this Mileage Unknown. Stay tuned for more car shenanigans.